In a very shocking turn of events, Donald Trump got the money today, and we're going to get into this here. I don't know if you guys have been paying very close attention to this, but what we are seeing here is an attack on America. It's not about Donald Trump, but Donald Trump has been the most recent target that is clearly under the microscope. As we head into the 2024 presidential elections, there is a reason why there are crimes, there are illegal aliens entering our country, and they're being protected. Meanwhile, you have a man who's running for president of the United States in about 6 or 7 months, and crimes are manufactured and brought to justice, and then they're delivering egregious penalties to the tune of $454 million out of the state of New York, out of the city of New York City. Thank you to Attorney General Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engeron. And it's not about Trump, guys. It's not about whether you like Trump or not. What this is about is this is an attack on America, America's civil liberties, okay? And like I've said before, this is an attack on multiple constitutional rights. Most recently, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the Eighth Amendment. Heck, and so many people are being brainwashed by, different programs on social media. Look at The View, Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar. They are literally daily attacking this guy. And many of their points are completely unfounded. Every now and then they make a good point, but for the vast majority of it, it's just like bashing. And you listen to AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Did you guys hear what she was saying when she was basically disputing, or I don't even want to call it a debate because she doesn't really know how to debate, but basically she was essentially in an argument at the end of the day against Bobulinski, and she would ask him a question and then she would not even let him answer. She's like just trying to run all over him because she knows he's about to make a great point and literally destroy her claim. Even Kevin O'Leary has been way more vocal about what's going on. And like I said, it's not about Trump. This is an attack on our finances. This is an attack on our civil liberties here in America. And if you stand for America, definitely hit the like button for this video. And if you really want to help to bring America back, make sure to share this video on Facebook and Twitter. Take a listen to what Kevin O'Leary has to say here.
I've been watching this happen for the last 5 years. It's getting very, very fractured. Everybody has a different opinion. The amount of noise going after the American person, any individual at the kitchen table, it's so chopped up and there's so many different narratives. And what I've learned, and I'm very encouraged by this, is you talked about BS. Well, the actual best filter of that is the American public. They smell BS a mile away, and they know it's coming at them from various different directions, whether it's...
If they're paying attention, so many people are brainwashed that, they're being lied to and they don't even realize it. And then they just repeat what they're being told. So make sure you share this video with your friends because you may actually be able to win some arguments off of it.
The left or the right or the podcast or the social media platforms. It's just all noise. And I got to tell you, I'm giving the American people more credit than they get in the press. They listen to this stuff and they say, that makes no sense to me. And I'd like to hear some policy, particularly around this election, which has gone crazy. We're going so far in every different direction. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing. I'm very happy when I go to a place like Fargo, North Dakota, or somewhere in West Virginia or Oklahoma City. Why don't you talk to those people? They don't take any BS at all. They
true.
Get it.
They get it, but then I get nervous.
And that really encourages me. I'm pretty encouraged that we're going to end up in the right place.
I'm optimistic too, but then I get worried when I see this Hispanic voter who was interviewed, and if you look at the larger context, he goes on to say, everything's so expensive, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, I'm not better off than I was 4 years ago. But then I hear Trump say bloodbath, and I'm like, And
So
that
people like lose their freaking ever loving mind when they hear certain terms, and it's like, do you even know what the word means? Like here in America, in the English vocabulary, words can have multiple meanings, right? If you've ever used a dictionary in your life, you'll realize, hey, this word can mean like 8 different things.
worries me because this guy is locked in on policy and then he gets brainwashed by a hoax and now he's like 50-50.
Jesse, that's Trump speak that's been going on for 9 years. Trump's been saying the same stuff for 9 years. You got to forget all that stuff. You got to listen to policy. I want to hear what the strategy is for border security and energy independence. I want to know what the plan is for foreign policy and taxation. I want to hear from both sides. I mean, talking about what Trump says in any 24-hour cycle, are you kidding? We've been listening to that for 9 years. Get over it, everybody.
Well, they have to
Start
get over
thinking
it.
about what
And this is exactly what's important, policy. Look at the immigration policy here, right? I mean, I have so many friends that have literally done it legally. They've literally migrated into the country, and it took them freaking like 10, 12 years. It's painful. It's expensive. Meanwhile, the current administration is literally protecting and sending out basically invitations and incentives for illegal activity. Literally flying illegal immigrants into the country with taxpayer dollars. I can't make this stuff up, guys. But it's about the policy here.
policy is.
You think about it, I think about it, we hope more people think about it, but they're gnashing their teeth, Tish James, at seizing properties. And people in the press are...
This is modern day eminent domain. Letitia James of New York City is basically stealing property from Donald Trump, and he'll literally have to spend $460 million just to attempt to defend himself.
Applauding. They're giggling. This is bloodthirsty.
Okay, now you're talking.
I mean, Letitia James is the real issuer of the bloodbath here, if you ask me.
You're right. This is hurting the American brand. What's going on in New York it has nothing to do with Trump. That case is over. What's going on now is concerning financial markets all around the world, because in the United States, and everybody, I don't care what color you are, red or blue or independent, doesn't matter, we are the bastion of safety when it comes to investing large pools of capital. That's what America represents. We have property rights, we have an appellate system, we have law people trust, and we give you good returns with the least amount of resistance. And what's happening in New York is tainting the American brand. I mean, seizing assets after 22 days? In a bankruptcy court, you get years to resolve this. This is not a good look on New York. It doesn't matter this Trump. It could be anybody. I think that's very bad for the American brand. And I also would argue that you think about if this is going to help New Yorkers, they should be asking for better management. I'm very disturbed. And the way I look at it, and I speak to many institutional capital fronts, including sovereign wealth, because I'm trying to buy TikTok right now. So I'm running all around the world trying to raise $30, $40 billion. And they all ask me the same thing. We're watching this New York thing play out. It looks to everybody like it was some dress-up court day when the parents were out and everybody got dressed up in robes and had fun acting out some court trial. When are the adults coming back into this? There are no adults yet.
That's true. I mean, you're running around trying to raise $40 billion. I'm running around trying to sell my book, get it together.
I mean, good luck if you're an investor in New York City, if you're thinking about investing in New York City, you're a real estate investor, a business owner, entrepreneur in the state of New York, but specifically in New York City. Good luck, guys, because this is a very dangerous precedent and message that Letitia James and the New York City court system, Mayor Eric Adams and Kathy Hochul are promoting about New York. I mean, this is not good. Investors, entrepreneurs are being turned off. I mean, it's a scary place to start or even operate an existing business. I mean, so now I don't know how you want to take this, but Trump has just come out today saying that he's got the money. Trump got the money. Trump is claiming that he now has $500 million in cash, undercutting what the lawyers' claims were on the bond money. So the former president, Donald Trump, he has to post his bond for the full amount that he owes on Monday, or New York Attorney General Letitia James could seize his bank accounts or his properties. Now, I actually saw that Letitia James actually had submitted some paperwork regarding attempting to begin the proceedings of seizing his, he's got like a 370 acre property. I want to say it's like, I forget what it's called. It's like seven seasons, or anyway, $370 million property up in New York. I was actually thinking that she was going to attempt to seize his New York properties, either 40 Wall Street or maybe Trump Plaza in New York City, one of those really expensive, luxury branded high-rise buildings. But it's kind of good news, because a lot of those people, there's a lot of people who work in Donald Trump's businesses, in his buildings, particularly in New York City. So just imagine, not only would Letitia James be screwing a guy who basically didn't harm anyone in this particular lawsuit out of $500 million, but she would have also been negatively impacting moms, dads, kids, because all of those people who work in those buildings, their jobs would likely be wiped out. Instead, it looks like she's coming after one of Donald Trump's residences up in New York. This particular property sits on about 370 acres. I think it's got like 60 bedrooms, massive property. It's one of several that Donald Trump owns, and it looks like she may be coming after that one first. But today, Donald Trump is saying he's got the cash, he's got the money. Former President Donald Trump claimed early to this morning that he's got almost $500 million in cash, undercutting his lawyer's claims that he would not be able to comply with the $464 million judgment against him and his co-defendants in the civil fraud case brought by Attorney General Letitia James. Now, this is a little bit concerning, because I do know that Donald Trump has a tendency to kind of like, fly off the handle and, speaks off the cuff, and sometimes his attorneys get a little nervous when he, doesn't let them speak. They want to like curate everything he says. So I don't know if this is really what his attorneys want him to say or not, but obviously only time will tell. Now, if he does provide this money to Attorney General Letitia James, number one, that would stop her ability to be able to seize his assets and his properties, his real estate holdings in New York City. Then this would also allow the appellate process to begin, so that he can actually appeal the judgment that was issued by Judge Arthur Engoron up in New York City. Apparently, Judge Arthur Engoron has actually had multiple cases overturned, and this could likely be another one of them. So this could end up being one of those massive undercover, unexpected wins for Donald Trump in the future. How long would the appellate process take for Donald Trump to kind of get through it and, get a second chance at re-defending himself, have another jury, have another court evaluate the judgment made by Arthur Engoron? That part we have yet to see. It could take months. It could take years. So, and at the end of it, if Donald Trump were to win, can Donald Trump sue for the improper judgments and for the loss of use of capital? I mean, think about the opportunity cost that will be lost by having $500 million tied up in the New York City judicial system. I mean, even if you're only, let me get my calculator out. Even if you're only making, let's see, 454, 1, 2, 3, that's 1,000, 1, 2, 3 million dollars at, even if you're only making like 0.06%, which is way less than what the stock market's doing right now. Like, imagine if he was only generating 6% on his money, which I'm pretty sure Donald Trump knows how to make more than 6% of his money. He's literally losing $27 million a year just by having this capital sitting dead inside of a court system to basically pay a bond. Now, if he wins this thing, if I were him, I'd be arguing for at least 6% of my money to be restored to me in the form of penalties. If I were Donald Trump, that's what I'd be looking at a minimum. Not to mention wasting my time. I mean, there's so many. So if this thing were to string out for 2 years, which is not unlikely, I mean, he could be missing out on a good $55 million just in having his money sitting around in some escrow account or wherever they happen to hold the money, in the event that he ends up getting this thing overturned in the appeal process. So that's another story, another argument down the line. But this is clearly an attack on Donald Trump. And I was also reading earlier that Donald Trump's was saying that he had basically like about $500 million sitting aside in cash, which he was planning to use for his presidential campaign. Evidently, Judge Arthur Engeron in New York City knew that, and basically Trump is kind of looking at this as the judge's way of tying up his capital to almost tie his hands behind his back so that he wouldn't be able to use that money for his 2024 presidential campaign. Now, those are rumors. I didn't actually hear that with my own ears, but I wouldn't put it past them. Donald Trump says, quote, "Through hard work, talent, and luck, I currently have almost $500 million in cash." So Donald Trump's got the cash. He's saying this, right? A substantial amount of which, here it is, a substantial amount of which I intended to use in my presidential campaign. Look at this. A substantial amount of which I intended to use in my presidential campaign, Donald Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social in all caps. The often overturned political hack judge on the rigged and corrupt AG, Attorney General case, talking about Letitia James here, where I have done nothing wrong, knew this and wanted to take it away from me. And that's why, and that's where and why he came up with a shocking number, which coupled with his crazy interest demand is approximately $454 million. So that tells you right there what they're trying to do. They're trying to destroy him, and they're trying to block him from having, I mean, is this not election interference? Is this not the exact same thing that Donald Trump is on trial for in Georgia? I can't make this stuff up, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, get this message out there, guys. Share this video on Facebook, share this video on Twitter, get the word out. This is unjust. I'll see y'all on the next one.